Hello and welcome to day 161 in this quest for a 2000 rapid chess rating on chess.com. All right, here we go. Find an opponent, see if we have the white pieces or the black pieces, and I was getting close to 1700. I got up to 1697 before falling back down to 1687. So let's see what happens today. All right. It's really taking a long time to find an opponent. All right. We have a 17-15 player. Here we go. We'll play d4 and see how they respond. Okay, they're attacking the center with their knight here and here. If they bring out this pawn, that'll prevent us from pushing ours to the center. But if they do that move, we can go ahead and take the center, it looks like. So we'll go ahead and grab the center with threats of attacking their knight. Okay, that prevents that, but now we can actually push our pawn forward here, and maybe try and cause some threats on the other side of the board. So let's go ahead and do that. So now that might slow him down from thinking about castling kingside. Because we might try and just push forward here. Okay, so he tries to stop it that way. Now, let's see. Well, we could develop our bishop up here. Or would it be better to just develop our bishop into the center, maybe that, or excuse me, into f4, so this is the Jabava London system, or it was supposed to be, if if he played a little bit differently. Now I can bring my bishop up, but the question is, do I put it here or here? Does it make a difference? And is there anything else that would be better here? Do I bring this bishop out? Now, I probably need to get my bishop developed. And that way, get the bishop developed. That way if he castles, decides to fianchetto and castle here, I can trade the bishop off. So I could go here and attack that knight. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, and now we can just bring our queen up. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Bring our queen up, create a battery. If he castles, we can place our bishop here, trade off his dark squared bishop, creating weaknesses in these dark squares around his king. And we're ready to castle queenside here. Now we might want to watch out that he can't throw his knight forward. All right, so should I have maybe pushed this pawn earlier? If he captures, I capture. No, that doesn't work. Do I just I should bring out another piece. Maybe bring this knight up here to help protect so the question is, do I bring, if I just bring the knight here, it doesn't block my bishop in, or, well, I don't really want to pin that knight. And if I go here, though, it keeps me from being able to bring this up. And maybe I want to do that. Let's see. Oh, I might as well castle. Okay, that solves the problem there, maybe. If I castle, I think that works. I'll just go ahead and castle. Now, usually when you castle queenside, a lot of times it's a good idea to move your king to b1 here, or b8 for black, to get out of the line. I need to watch out, because if my bishop wasn't here and he lines up a bishop down this diagonal, pinning my queen possibly to the king. That's probably not much of a threat here, but yeah, at some point I need to move my king over. Okay, what is my opponent going to do here? If he castles, do I go here immediately? Because if he takes and I take, that does work maybe, except if his knight jumps here, threatening a fork. How do I handle that? I mean, I guess my king... Oh no, my queen could just drop back and protect. Okay, so that covers that. So, yes, if he castles, I can go ahead and just move my bishop here and knock out his dark squared bishop, creating dark squared weaknesses around his king. So it's probably not the best idea for him to castle kingside. I don't know, it might not be terrible, but well, yeah, it probably wouldn't be so great, because then I could start trying to get a pawn storm here eventually against his king side. Although he could start trying to do one over here on the queen side. All right. Okay, at least my opponent is taking a lot of time here. All right, so that was an interesting move. Now I could just drop back and help defend everything. And that would work. So I drop back with my bishop and just defend. I don't want to go up here after his bishop, because he could just take and he'd be backed up by the knight. So I think I pretty much just have to retreat. All right, so we just drop back with a retreat. And what will he do? Maybe he could try and push this pawn, but then that opens up his king side. And his king is kind of stuck in the center for the moment. Oh, okay. Well, now, do I go after his bishop? I go up here. What if he comes down this way? Then I take his rook. But he keeps his bishop. I could chase his knight. Maybe I chase his knight first. But then he could move here to e5 if I push my pawn up. All right, so I don't know. I'm thinking I should go here. But then what if he goes out this way? All right, if I attack his knight and it jumps over here, then I think I can trade them off. So now he's making me think about this. All right. If we go here, attack, what if he goes this way, keeping his dark squared bishop, I take his rook, and his queen moves over. I don't know. Did we gain much out of that? So maybe we chase the knight first and gain space. I don't know. Okay, if I go here, he takes, or he doesn't. He takes with the knight. Then I take. All right, we're going to trade that bishop out of there. If not, then we'll just take his rook. We'll be ahead in material a little bit. Now he could take this pawn, but then we'll take his bishop. So he has to decide, does he want to give up the bishop or the rook? If he takes here with the bishop, I grab this. Then what? So I'll get a rook, he'll get a bishop and a central pawn. All right, and his knight is left here on the edge of the board, so it's not a very good knight. All right, I don't know. I mean, if he goes here, our queen recaptures. He's just left with dark squared weaknesses around his king. His knight is on the edge of the board. What are other possibilities? He either takes with... No, he has to take with the bishop if he wants to keep his bishop. So he could take... I take... then what? Maybe his queen retakes, or that knight if he wants. Probably the queen would retake, and then okay. So bishop takes. We take his rook. queen takes, and then that gives us time. Our knight can jump forward, attacking, or our bishop could develop. Maybe. No, maybe the knight jumps forward. But then we have to protect this pawn. So what would be best? Maybe we attack his knight. Because if we take, then his bishop will be unprotected. All right. Well, at least he's burning a lot of time now. Some of these players, I play against them, and okay, well, he brings his knight into the center, so we'll just go ahead and take his bishop, knock that out of there. And now we need to develop another piece here. He's got 2 developed. We've got 3, I guess. Our rook is a little better than his rook. But where do we want to go here? Maybe we develop our bishop up. All right, I'm thinking just develop this bishop. Develop the bishop. Does he have any threats? Do we want to attack his knight? Then if he goes to the center, we could attack it again, but then he could land in here. So one problem is if his knight jumps here and threatens a fork. Okay, we'll just go there. We'll go right there. That kind of solidifies our center, keeps his knight out of the position, so it can't threaten a fork right here. And then we can put our bishop here maybe. Maybe threaten to push forward and open things up against his king. All right. Well, we probably want to open things up a little bit. If we capture, he'll have to capture with the knight. And then what do we do then? Do we want to chase him away? He'll gain this outpost. So I'm thinking we just capture there. Now he'll have to think about that a little bit. Okay. So now, what do we do? That kind of covers things a little bit. Maybe we want to swing our king over. But first we need to develop some more pieces. So the bishop. Yeah, that seems good. We'll develop our bishop like that. The only thing that kind of blocks our knight in, we might have to go here and then bring our knight back here and then over. I don't know if I like that so much. And then I probably need to get this king over, like I said, to the B1 square. All right, we could bring the knight up to here, maybe drop it in here, but if this knight moves, he could chase us away with the pawn. Okay, if we push this pawn, he has 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders. We would have 2 attackers. Even 3 if we brought another knight to here. But, do we sacrifice a pawn to open things up against his king? Maybe. But I think I need to get this knight into a better position. Now what's he going to do? Oh, okay, he starts pushing immediately here. All right. Well, does that really do much? I mean, I guess I could go here. All right, we need to get this knight developed better. So let's develop the knight to the edge of the board, and we need to bring it back into the center here probably. Okay, he captures. Do I capture this way and open things up? Probably not. I'll capture that way. And then if he keeps pushing his pawns, maybe he's going to push this way and then that way. And I'm wondering, should I have pushed here or should I push there? All right, now I want to go this way, I guess. To prevent him from just, continuously pushing forward. And if he he could push there. I mean, I have the option of pushing this pawn and attacking his knight. And then I can swing my rook back into the center, maybe lining up on his queen. Okay, all right, this is interesting because now maybe I go here, lining up. All right, do I bring my queen up here, lining up on his unprotected queen? Then he might bring a rook over to protect it. And then can I push forward and try and get something out of it. If I go here, he takes, I take, a knight takes, my bishop takes, his other knight takes. Man. Oh, okay, here we can trade off one of his defenders. So if we go here with the knight attacking his queen, he takes with his knight. My queen takes. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. We'll attack his knight. Attack with the queen. And what next? What next? Well, now we could maybe attack his knight. If the knight goes forward, we could capture. But then he could capture and attack our rook. So, yeah, he attacks that way. If we go after it, well, we're attacking his pawn. So what is best as far as that's concerned? All right, he's going there. Do we take this pawn? Is that a poisoned pawn? Oh, yes, because he'll line up here. So that's a little tricky move by him. A tricky little move. That takes care of a few problems. Okay, do I let him come into the position here? Should I move my king over? All right. Maybe we drop back to defend. Could drop back here with the threat of pushing forward on his knight. All right, I'm wasting time, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll attack that way. Okay, now we can attack here, going after his knight. Then if his knight goes forward, we capture. Do we go here? Attacking? Maybe we try something like that. Okay, and I'm running out of time to think about all of it, so let's go there. We'll go after him, after his queen. We can threaten now to chase his knight away. right. Huh. Should we go here? Ah, this is getting a little tricky. Oh, now his king can switch over that way, so maybe I need to... That's why I was saying B1 might be good. If we attack his knight, he could attack my queen. Then what do I do? I could push forward attacking his queen. Nope, I don't want to deal with that. So let's just go there. That kind of takes care of some threats. All right. Well, let's go after his knight. Ah, now I'm behind in time. This is no good. Ah. All right, what now? What now? We're attacking his knight. Okay. Well, now we can drop back. Or do we attack his queen? No, we drop back. All right, what next? What next? Okay, I should knock out this knight, get rid of that, because he was threatening a possible fork if my queen wasn't protecting that square. Okay, so now we should double our rooks, keep them protected. We can push forward, try and get an attack going on his king. The problem is, if he pushes forward here, okay. Well, we can grab this, which is probably what we need to do. Okay, now we have a threat of a check up here on his king. So that's good for us. We can attack his king with a check. Pick off a... Well, see, he's attacking here. So we probably need to attack his queen first. So we attack his queen. This is going to be a close one. It's starting to turn into a mess here at the end. If I could get a little bit more of an attack on his king. I need to attack his queen. So what's the best way to do that? Centralize my rook and attack his queen. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. Okay. Well, maybe I attack his queen. Attack his queen. Is that what I need to do? I'm running out of time. Do I check? If I check, his king could run into here. If I go after this. All right, let's attack his queen. That at least gives me some breathing room to think here. Oh, and now my rook could move up here and check him possibly. I don't know though. This does not look good because, all right, now he's attacking this. So well, now we could check him. Then what? Do we threaten an attack here? This is really a tough one. If we go there with check, he could go up here. Our rook is under attack. If we go here, all right, I think we need to just threaten an attack there. So we're threatening to capture. This is a tough one right down to the end here. So we're threatening to capture. He could block that, which he does. Oh my gosh, come on. If we take, then we just threaten another check on him. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we can threaten to just capture with a check with this pawn. Do we have anything better? We'll just do that. That'll kind of open his king up pretty good there. All right, now we just made him. Oh my gosh, that was a tough one. Whew. It was like a race to see who could get in there first. All right, new high, 1698. Didn't break 1700 yet, but we do have a new high score of high rating of 1698. Okay, I'll do a quick game review, and then let's see. Then we'll do a computer analysis afterwards. So stick around because that can really help you learn and improve. Oh man, look at that. The game was pretty much even. I had a slight edge until I kind of gave it away a little bit to where it was even. And then I got an advantage there in the end. All right, so I played at 75.7% accuracy versus their 68.9. They did have one great move, so we'll have to see what that was. 6 inaccuracies. We both had 6 inaccuracies. We both had 2 mistakes, but they had a miss and a blunder. Oh my gosh, it says I only played at a 1650 level versus, well, I mean, that's not so bad, I guess, but I played at a 1650 level versus their 1300. Yeah, I guess we missed a lot or played a lot of inaccuracies because I thought the game was a little more solid than that. So the quick review here. I wanted to set up a Jobava London, but they kind of did a King's Indian type of defense a little bit. All right, so well, this is the Pyrrhic defense now. All right, so that was a mistake apparently. They probably, maybe they should have taken that. Well, we'll have to look at that because it's just blasting through the moves. So I'll just go through this real quick just to highlight things. So that was a mistake. Apparently they should have developed another piece. So we bring our knight up here and trade knights. They said that was a great move. Oh, maybe I should have captured with the pawn instead. And then that was a bad move. A mistake, bringing my queen up there. I should have just chased the knight away. Huh. Okay. Yeah, they should have captured and gotten rid of the queens. But I guess they were trying not to get a draw. So that was a blunder right there. They should have just attacked my queen and protected this pawn. So now, oh, it didn't like these moves. So we have a lot to look at with the computer evaluation here. So yeah, there we go. That was the best move with a mate in one. If they moved up here, yeah, then our queen mates. No matter what they do, our queen is going to mate them. So there's a mate in the end. All right, yeah, let's look at this crazy game in the analysis. So we'll go back to the beginning. Okay, d4, I was trying to set up the Jobava London, which is pawn on d4, knight to c3, and bishop to f4. And they played this, which is fine, kind of a waiting move, and it's also to keep me guessing on, are they going to move the pawn to d5? Or are they going to play the King's Indian defense type of setup? So we just continue with our plan of knight to c3, which gives us the threat of pushing the pawn in the center and gaining the strong pawn center, which is what I ended up doing. So after this, well, before we were, it's still an Indian game, it says. So we take the center. And now we're in a Pyrrhic defense, main line. So here, I play this, and maybe that threw them off. It does say this is a main line, the bayonet attack. So that's the Pyrrhic defense, bayonet attack. What is recommended here? Just bishop to e3, apparently. Or f4, or knight to f3. I think I've even played f4, getting all the pawns in the center here. All right, so the bayonet attack. They try and slow that down. Now, apparently the best thing is bishop to g5, so we found that. Bishop to g7 is the best move for them. And here, queen to d2 says that's excellent, but it actually liked knight to f3. Knight to f3. All right, yeah, because, I don't know, you want to get your knights out early, so maybe I should have done that. But I wanted to castle. And knight to f3 would help protect this without the queen having to do guard duty. So that's an inaccuracy. The recommendation here is just to play f3 to kind of block the knight from being able to move forward, reinforce the central pawn. So apparently c6 would have been better for them because back here, after they play c6, they can start pushing pawns here, and it keeps my knight, out of b5, I guess, and the bishop out of b5. It's says I should play a4, I guess to prevent them from pushing a pawn forward. So instead of that, well, after c6, f3, or a4. But in the game, what did we have? They played knight to c6, and I castled, which is still excellent. Although an immediate f3, they like that better. And then this knight retreats back here, attacking my bishop. So bishop to e3 is best, which I found, because they're piling up on this pawn here. And now castling is good, but an immediate e5 apparently is better. If they played e5, then I should capture and try and open up the center a little bit. So a mistake here. f3 should have been played. So let's take a look at that. f3. That kind of gives us the option to maybe push here in the future, maybe after we get our bishop here to help. They should play e5 apparently. So they like that the best. And then we should capture. So we capture. They go ahead and capture with the pawn. And then we trade off here. Rook takes. And then we could capture and leave their knight back on the edge of the board. But they recommend developing our knight next. All right, well, back to what happened in the game. We played this mistake move. And yeah, I kind of thought they were going to capture this pawn in the center. And apparently that's best. What did they play? They played knight to f6, which is a missed opportunity. And white has a pretty good edge after that. Their best move was to capture. And then we go after the rook. Queen recaptures. And then we play f3 to prevent maybe the bishop from coming down here. f3. Oh, and if the queen moves here and they pile up on our knight, trying to wreck our pawns, if bishop captures, queen captures, his queen captures, my pawn would have to capture, so maybe then our knight would have to move over. But it's saying bishop to d7 might be best here, or just dropping the bishop back to g7. So something like this, the game could have gone into this kind of position, I guess. All right, h6 is what happened in the game. They bring their knight back towards the center, putting pressure on this pawn. So f3 was best. That was an inaccuracy. Oh, now they're saying bishop to b5 would have been good to attack their knight. Yeah, because that bishop is going to be trapped behind these light squared pawns. So here they're also saying f3 should have been played. But I wanted to trade off the bishop. I mean, I guess I could have waited to do that. And finally I play f3, and now they're saying that's not the best move. Bishop to b5 would be better. So they attack in the center. And what do we do here? We take. It says that's good, but developing another piece would have been better. Yeah, if I developed the knight, then if they took, well, then I could recapture with the knight. Yeah, that would have helped my development better. So that was a little inaccuracy there. I should have just gone here with the knight. Okay, but I capture. The knight captures. And now f4 is best. F4 is what I should have played. I was too worried about a fork here. Knight's jumping into my position. And, sure enough, it's saying that's what's best. There's a possible fork in the works, although my queen is covering that, playing guard duty for now. Oh, I guess I could... They're saying that would be best. Maybe trying to drop here and trade the knights off. So, queen to e7, putting pressure on this pawn. Bishop up to d3 to protect. Then bishop to d7. It's also saying centralizing my queen might have been a good move as well. All right, back to the game. What did we have? We had bishop to e2 here. So let me go back a little further. Knight recaptures. Bishop develops. The pawn marches forward, but bringing the queen out would have been a better move. So queen to e7, getting the queen off the back rank. And then they recommend a3 here. Huh. Okay. All right. So in the game, we had knight to h3. Let me go back a little further. They push the pawn. Knight to h3, which is not very good, apparently. An inaccuracy. They capture, which is best. I capture. And that pawn starts marching. So h3 is the best move to stop the action of that pawn. Now the queen finds this best move on e7. The knight attacks, forcing a trade, but apparently an immediate king to b1 would have been better. But now that's a great move. And I should have captured with the pawn. So I captured with the queen. So instead, capturing with the pawn kind of holds his pawns back a little bit. I mean, I guess he could go here, but I could ignore that maybe. We could attack his knight and then maybe even, well, I don't know. What is it saying here? That they should play f5 and then we should play rook at h to h1, just dropping back to double up our rooks. And then rook to f7, maybe getting ready to double up rooks somewhere. And queen to c3. So lining up on their king like that, I guess. And now it's saying once again, king to b1. So that's an interesting point. How often when you castle queenside, you want to get your king over to the b file. It helps cover a piece, the queen, from infiltrating on a2, and it helps prevent maybe future attacks down that diagonal. All right, in the game, we trade off some material here. I drop my queen back, which is best. That's an inaccuracy. They should have brought their knight back, then maybe repositioned it, maybe here, to try and get closer to my where my king is, maybe. All right, so a mistake, and now the game's about even. So that was a bad move there. Apparently, I should have just played f4. The best thing is for the knight to go here, threatening a fork. And then it's not even good for me to take because then he gets some momentum against my rook. I got to retreat. So it would have been better to play rook to f1 to stop that. And you line up on their queen. So I didn't see this line of attack. Rook to e8 is best, attacking the unprotected pawn. And here, interesting. f5 is recommended as best, opening up, trying to attack the queen. Rook to e5 is best. They don't even want you to take this pawn. Well, then we would capture with an attack on the queen. The queen would capture. And now rook at h to f3. Yeah, this would have been more dangerous, but trickier to find. Okay, back to the the finale of the game here. The final moves. Queen avoids capturing, but apparently it would have been better to take my queen. Then I capture. Then after knight to d7, the game would have been even. I should play f4. And then what? Knight to c5, attacking this pawn. And what's best after that? Go here, lining up. You know, if this is captured, I can capture a pawn here in return. So then they recommend rook to e8, bishop up to f3 to help cover this. But black has a slight edge after what? After c6. Okay. Huh. After c6, it kind of shuts down the bishop. Rook to c4, helping cover this. Knight back up here attacking this pawn. So then we protect, and then rook over to h. Yeah, so a lot going on. Back to what happened in the game. The queen moves over, and this is what I was talking about. You know, they could jump in here and start harassing my king. You know, so I need to get that king over to there. Apparently the best thing here is to ignore that and play queen to d2. So then if the queen does come down here, my queen could move up here and protect this pawn, and my king could escape out that way. All right, yeah, a lot going on there. So I play this move instead, and it says that's good, but not as good as queen to d2. So the pawn marches forward. I attack the knight. They pick the best move, attacking my queen. I drop back, and the knight jumps forward. So here, queen all the way over to c3, lining up on the king is the best thing to do here. Huh. Instead, I play that. So that was an inaccuracy. Best was what? They're also saying rook to d4 is good, but they mentioned that move. See if it still says that's best. No, it likes rook to d4 better. Protecting this unprotected pawn. All right. Well, then what? They should just continue attacking. I should pick that off, and then they could take. But they recommend c5, and they have if my rook moves, they'll have an open line. Apparently, I should attack that way. Yeah, so then we would have exchanged off a lot of material here. Well, now they don't even like that. They want me to just go ahead and capture here. So capture, rook captures, and then now queen to f3. To protect this pawn, I guess. Okay, back to the game. We exchanged off. They capture. My rook has to move. They pick off this, but that's an inaccuracy. Apparently b4 would have been better. The game would have been even then. And I should play rook up to d4. Or h5. Now they're saying h5 would have been a good move. So in the game, they grab the pawn. I grab this pawn. They play the best move, launching forward here. We attack the queen. That is not the best move. Apparently queen to d7 check would have been even better. which I kind of looked at that, but I didn't know if I had a good enough follow-up. Their recommendation is king to g8, and then rook at h to e1, attacking the queen, queen to f5, attacking my queen, and then, wow, this is kind of crazy. They say that I can take this. I was worried about them attacking like this, and then if I move, they can go after this pawn with queen and rook. I was worried about that. G4 would have been best here. Otherwise, queen takes d6 is an even game. That would have been better, which I don't know. I don't think I would have seen that, especially with 2 minutes left on the clock. So they take, I take, capture, capture. So then we just trade off a lot of stuff here. Yeah, you get the picture. So back to the finale of the game. The big blunder here. Queen to c6 is a big old blunder. Queen to f5 would have been best. So they needed to stay here to protect. They probably didn't want to double their pawns. But I shouldn't do that. I should play rook to e7, apparently. Check. The king attacks the rook. And then, oh man, queen to e2 works. Then they recommend b3, threatening to capture here with the queen. And then I should capture. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this game was kind of a crazy ending. So I'll just wrap it up here. Queen to c6 was played. I start marching forward, but apparently I should have checked the king. And it was just hard to see that with now a minute left on the clock. So they push forward. King to f8 would have been better. Man. Then, well, let me go back there. That was a mistake. Instead, they should have played king to h8. So king to h8, and then what? I should take on f6 and threaten a mate in 1, but they could attack my queen, and then what do? Play queen to f4, threatening to jump in here. So queen to d7 to stop the queen's check, to block it. But then, oh, we can do that. Yeah, and that's not looking too good. He would have to give up his queen there because we have a mate threat. Wow. Back to the game. We had that. Yeah, and then we just start, chasing his king and get a mate right at the end. So the Pirc defense, bayonet attack. All right. Well, feel free to leave any comments. Like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.